Okay, hello everyone, and thank you very much for joining me this evening. My name is Richard from the Seneca team, and I hope you can all see and hear me okay. So today I am going to give you a rundown of everything you need to know about Seneca tutoring, how it works, how you can get the most out of it, and also allow you to sort of see it in action to see if it's something that would work for you, so you can understand what it is that we're looking at. So it's going to be a few different sections to this session. The first one is going to be looking at the first bit's going to be looking at the background on Seneca and understanding what it actually is, so you can sort of see that from your perspective. And then after that, we're going to look a bit more detail in actually just showing you what the app looks like, so you can understand it from your child's perspective, exactly what they'll see and how it will work. If you decide to go ahead with our premium accounts and sign up for tutoring. So the way this is going to work, you'll find that unlike a Zoom call, if you did it with some friends or in a meeting or anything, you won't be able to unmute yourself in this call. That's just to make sure we don't all talk over each other. But if you want to ask any questions, I encourage you to do so. If you just use the chat, which I'll just write something in now, so you'll see it pop up on your screen. If you pop the chat in there, any questions you have, just pop them in there, and I will answer them as and when they come up, or there's an appropriate break in the session. So let's get going and start off, as I said, by explaining a little bit about Seneca and what it is, how it works, and how you can use it. So Seneca is very much a distance learning and homework platform for students. And we also provide accounts for teachers and parents as well, to help them support their child's learning. Now, as you can probably imagine, the distance learning side of things has become much larger over the last sort of 8 months or so since our first lockdown back in March. But we've also developed our product to make sure it's applicable for the current situation as well. And there's a few things we do as standard and a few things we've added as well, which I'll mention. And some of the best things worth mentioning right from the get-go are that, first of all, the way Seneca has been designed and developed is based on proven learning strategies. So we use the latest cognitive science to basically develop the way our program works, and we're able to adapt the work that students see depending on how well they do in the different sessions we have. Secondly, you can also track progress of your child on Seneca. That can happen through emails, but it can also happen through a parent account as well. We also provide adaptive learning. So what that means is your child will have particular strengths and particular areas they want to develop on, and that will be different for every single one of the children, the children of the people in the school. So we know that, and we tailor what we do accordingly. So when a student is completing an online learning course on Seneca, it adapts according to what the student does and doesn't know, so that basically you can be reassured that your child is accessing exactly the right content for them at exactly the right time for their learning. There's no one size fits all here. There's also, with our tutoring service, unlimited tutoring support. And it's instant. So what we provide there is basically within 10 minutes of any question being answered, your child will be able to get a tutor on the end of the chat service, which I'll show you how that works in a minute. But that will be there and available ongoing and unlimited. So different to some other tutoring services where you maybe just get a 1 hour slot to work with a tutor and then that's it until your next session. This is an ongoing support. So this is potentially really valuable at the moment in terms of providing your child with the support they need while they're at home, with schools being closed, but also freeing up your time as well with your other responsibilities. Now, I mentioned the sort of proven learning strategies. So these are sort of very well thought of in the field of cognitive science for learning. So basically the understanding of how the brain works is very well sort of researched and very well sort of thought of within the learning community. So the way we developed the platform is using these strategies from cognitive science for learning. But we wanted to make sure that the way we delivered these strategies was also effective. We didn't want to just accept that somebody in some academic journal had said it's a good way to do it, and therefore we had done it right as well. We wanted to double check. So what we did was we did some research in the form of a randomized control trial with just over 1,100 pupils. And what we found was that when we compared Seneca to other independent learning tools like a revision guide, we saw very similar pre-test results among the students in the study. But what we found was that the students, after they had completed the work, the students who had used Seneca did significantly better. So it was over 2 times better than the students using the revision guides for their learning. So we see that as very much a validation of the way that we have developed Seneca and the different support we give using these strategies that come from cognitive science. Now that journal or that research paper was peer reviewed and published. So if you want to read about it, you'll be able to find it on Google. For example, just search impact Seneca learning, or obviously if you want to ask any questions about it as well, then that's absolutely fine. Now, in terms of what we have on Seneca, so we have online courses and the tutoring support that starts at age 7 in year 3 at primary school. And we go to cover everything right up to age 18 at the end of A-level. So be it if your child's in a Key Stage 3 class, so a year sort of a primary school, a Key Stage 3 class, so that's year 7, 8 and 9. If they're in GCSE classes or if they're in A-level classes, we'll be able to support them with online courses and tutoring support. When it comes to the support we give, everything is exam board specific. So you may or may not know that different schools can pick different exam boards. And while they're still the same subject and the same qualification, the content can vary sometimes. So there's, GCSE biology, there's a number of different options that a school could choose from. They're called exam boards, they're things like AQA, EdXL, and you can see them listed on screen now, but they will provide, basically the courses we provide and the support we provide through tutoring is specific to the exam board of your child. So you can be reassured that they are getting exactly the content they need for learning. Now, in terms of usage numbers, the majority of our users use Seneca completely free. What our premium does is it provides extra content and resources and support for our premium customers, and that helps keep it free for everyone else who either can't afford to buy premium, or if they want to, or if they don't feel like they need it at that time. So you can see there we've got lots of people using it, which is great, and we're all about supporting people as well as we can. So that's a bit of background on Seneca as a whole. To explain the tutoring service and why that came about. So that was started back in March time during the first lockdown when the first got announced. We saw that there was a real gap in the availability of low-cost tutoring. So if you look at the cost of tutoring for an hour, maybe of like a one-to-one Zoom call like this, or a small group Zoom call, would be about £30 to £50 an hour. We wanted to set about actually making tutoring much more accessible and affordable for families. So we set about developing the tutoring service that we have today, and we provide that for £30 a month. So for a whole month, unlimited support rather than £30 for an hour. So it's not really comparable in terms of cost, but hopefully in terms of the support, you'll see how beneficial it can be. So I'm going to come out of this presentation now, and I'm just going to show you a few bits on Seneca so you can get an idea of how it works. So I mentioned the courses that we provide a minute ago. So students, when they come on here, they can see all the different courses we provide. You can see all the subjects we offer down the side here, and there's 25 different subjects we offer. So it's all sorts of things from English, math, science to food prep and DT, to languages, geography, history, etc. So there's a whole host of different subjects we provide, and your child will be able to use Seneca as the go-to place for all those subjects, which is really handy when they're trying to keep a routine and not have to remember too many passwords and all that sort of stuff. And in terms of what our courses look like, a student can go in and basically, so this is a GCSE chemistry course as an example, and they can go in here and select any topics that they want to study, and they can then start learning. And it's a mixture of content, so things to learn. So this is on the alcohol functional group as an example, and then there's also a mixture of questions as well. So they can see different questions and content delivered in different ways. And this is all using those effective learning strategies that we talked about earlier, but from cognitive science. So that's what an online learning course looks like. Now, if your child is working on this or any of their other schoolwork and they need support, you'll see that there's this Ask a Tutor button at the top here. Now, this is to basically provide your child with access to the tutors who will be there to support them if they need it. So if I show you what the tutoring service looks like now, so we have here the tutoring service that we have here. We have all the different subjects down the side here, and the way it works is students can come in here. They can ask any questions that they have, and they can then get the answers back from our tutors within 10 minutes of asking any questions. So what the best thing to do probably is just show you how it works in real life. So I'm going to ask a question. We're going to see our tutor will come back with an answer, with a response. So I'm going to ask a biology question. And the question I'm going to ask is, can you explain the nitrogen cycle? Those of you who studied that at school, racking your brains to remember what the nitrogen cycle is, well, we're going to find out in a minute. So let's see if one of our tutors will come back to us in a second. Remember that they, within 10 minutes, they'll get back to me. It's normally quicker, but that's sort of the longest it will be 10 minutes. So it looks like Tom F has picked it up for me. So I'll just leave him to it for the moment, but we'll come back to it in a second while I explain other things. So part of tutoring is this sort of instant schoolwork support that our tutors will provide, but there are also other bits of it as well that are really valuable at supporting your child's learning. So the first one being the video lessons that we have. So these are produced by our tutors. They will basically support your child through different videos, and these are decided, so the topic of the videos are decided by the children themselves. So they're able to vote on what they want videos on, and our tutors will produce these videos for them as and when they want them. So we tend to produce between like 4 and 10 a day maybe, and then they're there for for your children to go back and look through and revisit these videos as they go. So they're all there and ready to go, and will be continually added to as time goes on. But on top of that, you also have things to discuss different interests that students might have. So if they're interested in coding, design, theatre, entrepreneurship, etc., they'll be able to join discussions with their peers. And the other thing that is important to say is in terms of timetabling. So with your child being at home, there will be some support provided by school. There will also probably be other things that they want to focus on. And to help your child structure that other stuff, we are able to provide you with a custom timetable for your child. So this will look like this, and it will basically provide your child with detail, with basically a specific to what they're looking for, different courses that they're looking for, different topics, and each of them will just link to different online learning sessions. So students can basically just work through these, tick them off as they go through the different sections. And our tutors will actually produce these for your children. So the process is very straightforward for setting up. Literally, so this is a GCSE example, but it would be the same for any child. So you just choose the name of the subject you want to have in your timetable. So let's go English language, for example. You can select the different topics you want to include if there's any in particular, or you can leave it blank. And you say how many hours a week you want to spend on it. So I want to spend 3 hours a week on this. And you just go through and add all the different courses you want to add. So let's go chemistry higher, and let's go as an example again. So this time I want to do 4 hours a week. And by going through this process, your child will then basically tell us the information that they want included in their timetable, and then we'll send them one of these depending on what they ask for, with all the links to all the sections and all the different courses that they've asked for as well. So that's going to be one part of the tutoring, as well as the video lessons and the live support. So let's see if Tom F has got back to me. So here we go. Okay, so yeah, looks like it. So Tom F has got back to me with an answer. So he's explained the different stages of the nitrogen cycle, which is very helpful. So there's 7 stages there for me to look through and read and sort of understand. And as I say, this can happen for anything your child wants to study, not just biology, but you can see all the different subjects, everything from your sciences and maths and English to PE, etc. So that's how that works. And that's there available during the weekdays at the moment during lockdown, because we have adapted our times basically to make sure that I should just say thanks to Tom. We've adapted the timings of that our tutors are available to make sure that your child is able to get support during the school day. Beforehand, before lockdown happened, we were providing support in the evenings because they were at school during the day. But now the timings are 10 a.m. until 8 p.m. So your child will be able to get support throughout that time, and there'll be a 10-minute response time as a maximum. And during the weekend, it's available 11 till 7. So 11 in the morning till 7 in the evening. And that is available there for your child to use. The last thing to share with you is there's a couple of other bits that you will get as part of a tutoring program. So you'll also get what's called a parent activity summary. So this is data that's sent to your email every week. So every Monday morning, you'll basically get an update of what your child's been learning on Seneca. But on top of that, you also have access to the parent account. And this is where you can see live data. If you can't wait until that Monday morning email, you can come in and log into your account and actually see exactly what your child's been up to in real time, the different courses they've been studying, the amount of time they've spent learning, the average scores they're getting, the number of sessions they've completed, and the number of correct answers. So there's loads of information there, and you can then use this to think about how you can support your child most effectively, and maybe talking to teachers with a bit more knowledge and understanding of where your child is at in terms of their learning. So that's all available with the tutoring service. I've explained the different courses we offer. I've explained the tutoring and the video support and the timetabling that we offer as part of that. If your child also is of sort of A-level stage, we'll be able to give support with personal statements, as well as sort of essay writing support, longer form answers if your child's struggling with past papers and things like that. We'll be able to give advice and support for that through the tutoring service as well. So that's basically all I wanted to cover in today's session. I imagine there are some questions from people. So now's the time, if you haven't had a chance to write in your questions yet, to start using the chat feature on Zoom. So if you're not sure how to get it up, just click the screen and you'll be able to see the chat at the bottom, and just type your questions in there and I'll be happy to field those as they come in. So a question from Darren. Darren's son has dyslexia and he wants to know if tutors are able to support with special educational needs. So yes, of course. So, you know, obviously your son Darren is, will be specific in his support, but there are particular strategies that are sort of universally good practice for supporting dyslexic students, and our tutors are trained on those. So if you make sure you just let us know, or let the tutors know that during the setup process that your son is dyslexic, then we'll be able to support you with that. The other side of it is our online learning courses, that they are the way they are structured and the way they're written is to make sure that the language is as simple as possible, but still conveying the complexity of what is being learned. So, and that goes for all students. So not just dyslexic students, but it'll be useful for all students. Okay, a question from ZA. It says, do you have tailored programs for 11+ preparation? So yes, we do. So if I just briefly show you how those work. So within this, the courses search button function here, a student can come in here and click on the 11+ section. And here we've got lots and lots of resources for students to look through and to go through. These are things like different questions. We've got hardest questions courses. We've got general courses as well. and the students can work through these online. But also on top of that, if they're having trouble with any support that they need, or they want to include 11 plus preparation in their timetables that I talked about earlier, then you can just include those by just selecting the 11 plus option when you set up the timetable. And our tutors will be on hand to support with those as well. Okay, are there any other questions from anyone? Okay, Darren asks, can we build tailored courses for English? So unfortunately not, Darren, so it's not an option that you can build your own courses for English. But in terms of what we have for English, it'd be useful to know how old or the sort of year group of your child. Okay, so age 13. So he'll be either in the Key Stage 3 section, or in if he's in year 9, or if he's in year 10, he will be, okay, so he's year 9, sorry, I have to sort that. So he'll be in the Key Stage 3 section. And what you'll be able to see is, if I go into here, you have the different English courses that we have here. Sorry, I'm not sure what's happening here. Let's go into the different English courses we have. So you'll be able to see here, we've got like Midsummer Night's Dream, we've got the different courses on offer in terms of like the texts, but we've also got like preparation on decoding words, which is really useful for developing, developing vocabulary and understanding of words. They're already there, ready to go. You don't need to create your own courses. We've also got like a spelling, punctuation, and grammar course that would be useful for him, I'm sure. And then there's also courses on like the English language, so things like persuasive writing and creative writing and things like that, so that they're already there and ready to go for your son. Okay, Darren also asks, do you have any ability tests? So I assume you're talking about sort of things like IQ tests. Is that right, Darren? Like comprehension age. Okay, so we do have comprehension courses that we provide. We don't necessarily provide them as like a comprehension age or like an ability score. What children get and what you would get is percentage score. So you'd still be able to see how well your child is doing and where they're struggling, but you wouldn't necessarily be converted into an age score, I'm afraid. Okay, any other questions? Please do get them coming in. Meanwhile, I'm just going to explain the pricing structure so you can understand how that works, and you can decide if this is a good option for you, or if any of these work for you. So we have a few different options that you can go for. The first thing to decide is how long do you want your subscription to run for. So we have 4 monthly subscriptions, which we call seasonal. And we have annual subscriptions, which are obviously 12 monthly. So that's your first decision to make. The prices per month do vary slightly depending on if you go for the 4-month seasonal or the annual. But the different options are, we have the Supreme option, which purely gives you access to the online learning courses. You don't get tutoring with that. And if you want tutoring, you need to go for either our tutoring or guarantee packages. So if you want to, say, bill annually, you can see it's $29.99 a month for tutoring. So like I mentioned right at the beginning, for the cost of 1 hour of tutoring that you'd normally pay for online tutoring, you can get a whole month of this schoolwork support. So it really helps your money to go a long way. And if you want the guarantee, then that is slightly more expensive at $39.99 annually, or $49.99 if you pay seasonally. Now, the difference between tutoring and guarantee is this 7 to 9 and A to A star money back guarantee. So we basically say that we're confident that our courses and our support is so good that we are willing to sort of put our money where our mouth is on that. So if your child doesn't get a 7 to 9 or an A to A star with our support, having met certain criteria, like making sure they're studying all the courses that we offer. They have to have sat the exams and things like that. Then if they've met all those criteria, then we're happy to sort of refund you if you don't get the scores, get the 7 to 9 or the A to A star at A level in the exam period. Okay, so it looks like that might be all the questions from you. So if there are any further questions, do feel free to just quickly type them in before I disappear. But the last thing to say really is thanks very much for joining. I appreciate it's a very busy and tricky time for parents at the moment with schooling happening at home. So thank you for taking the time to join this call, and I hope you found it useful and interesting. I'll send a follow-up email after this that will just give you some information on where to go to get a better idea and do a bit more reading to decide if tutoring is something that's right for you. But if it's not, and you don't decide that tutoring is something you want to support or want to invest in, then don't forget you can always just use our free accounts, and your children can use your free accounts as well, their free accounts as well, to access our free courses as they learn. So thank you very much for joining, and I will see you again at a webinar very soon. Thanks very much.